The power of the media to make or break reputations was the second in a series of incisive and lively debates spearheaded by FrontRow Legal at Elland Road. Guest speakers included the vindicated 800-metre Commonwealth gold medalist Diane Medall, who was accused and later cleared of taking performance-enhancing drugs, and Philip Burney, head of BBC Sport. A top athlete who represented Great Britain in 4 Olympic Games between 1998 and 2000, Diane recalled how her life was turned upside down and her reputation shattered in 1994 when, about to compete in the Commonwealth Games at Victoria, Canada, she was stopped by team official Susan Deeds and told she had tested positive.
So when I went into the room, nothing could have prepared me for what she said. And she did something really weird. She took hold of my hands and she looked directly into my eyes and she said, "Diane, a drug test you gave in Portugal 9 weeks ago has tested positive." And I remember looking at her thinking, she's made some kind of mistake. And she repeated what she said. And I remember saying to her then, "I have to go back to my room now. My race starts in about 3 hours. I need to go back and prepare." And it wasn't until Sue said to me, "No, Diane, I have to pull you out," that I realised it wasn't a mistake. She was talking to me and it was really very real.
Determined to clear her name on returning to the UK, Diane was besieged by the media and lambasted by, ironically, the very press who later helped to restore her reputation once her name had been cleared.
Reputation management is the theme today. 15 years ago, what happened to you? Today, how would you deal with it differently? Would you get a PR agency on board to deal with that?
That's a really interesting one. I think in hindsight and looking at what happened to me, as you say, 15 years ago, I would first of all have probably rung up Max Clifford and said, "Listen, Max, deal with manage my reputation, please. Because I am innocent of these charges, I want to get back on track. I don't want to win again."
Max Clifford, for example, we've seen has been brought in by Ricky Hatton. And so you would expect with high-profile sportsmen, and particularly those with considerable wealth, that they would think on bringing on a PR consultant, and there would be very quickly a meeting of minds to see what can be done.
Jonathan Crystal explained how the areas of defamation and privacy have since become more sophisticated, and, citing the Tiger Woods case, the debate also examined the issue of damage control with sponsors.
I think it's time for the sponsors to be more sophisticated. It's always been the case that every sponsorship contract includes what they call a death and disgrace clause. So the sponsor can terminate if the athlete dies or they suffer some considerable disgrace, and also, for instance, if there is a career-ending injury. But just invoking that in the way that, say, a number of Tiger Woods sponsors did, I don't think looked good for the sponsor.
Chairing the debate was FrontRow Legal Managing Partner Richard Cronall. Recognised by the Legal 500 Guide as one of the country's leading sports lawyers, he advises clients from Premiership football clubs to high-profile sports celebrities. He asked BBC Head of Sport Philip Burney how the BBC handles such headline-pulling stories.
How we deal with a drugstore on the one hand, that kind of sensational sex story on another hand, is, I think, with a degree of caution. I don't think we want to be prurient or pompous about it, because we know there's massive public interest in the story.
The reputation management seminar concluded with questions from the floor and was extremely well received. Due to the popularity of the event, a third debate based on anti-corruption and gambling in sport is planned for December.
I found today really useful, both on a networking front and also listening to the experts, giving me the legal background, particularly around some of the issues that I'm confronting on a day-to-day basis.
This morning was very enlightening, very apt with the obviously topics of what's been happening in the media over the last 6 months, and it was a good perspective to see the learned people on the panel and their views.
The seminar this morning was most helpful. I'm interested in reputation management due to some current issues that are occurring in my life as a professional sports person. The morning was thoroughly enjoyable and very informative.
You know, it was interesting today to talk about reputation management, because I'm aware sometimes when you're running a company, sometimes you've got to be aware of your reputation as well. It's not just sports people.
I loved how fragile our reputation is and how we have to protect it. And one of the things I learned was how we should really walk our talks at all times. When you're in the public eye, it's so important to walk your talk, to represent your profession in the best way, and know that you're influencing and inspiring people all the time, and to operate with that responsibility.